Good afternoon, and thank everyone for being here today. I'm really excited about this opportunity to introduce our new wrestling coach. When I started this search a couple, 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was looking for a Division I sitting coach who had a proven record of success. I was looking for someone with high integrity and character, a coach who was well respected nationally. I also wanted a head coach who knew the region and who could take advantage of the strong wrestling community that we have here in West Virginia, Western PA, as well as the nearby states. I must tell you that we had a very strong pool of candidates who were very interested in becoming the next coach at WVU. I want to thank all of them for their time and interest in this position. As our search narrowed, it didn't take long for one candidate to come to the top of the list, and that candidate was Tim Flynn. Tim met all the qualifications I mentioned earlier, and then some. Just ask anyone who knows him, and you will be blown away by his strong character and integrity. He has been a well-respected Division I head coach for 21 years with a proven track record. His accomplishments add up to 223 wins, 150 national qualifiers, 38 All-Americans, 64 Eastern Wrestling League champions, 97 Pennsylvania State Athletic Conference champions, and 18 top 25 finishes, including Edinburgh's highest finish ever, number 3 nationally back in 2015. I said I was looking for a head coach with a proven success record. Well, Tim Flynn's list goes on. He has engineered 15 EWL championships, 17 Pennsylvania Athletic Conference championship, and earned a combined 20 Conference Coach of the Year awards and 1 National Coach of the Year honor. During his time at Edinburgh, he produced 3 national champions and 8 national runner-ups. When I talked about Tim with Edinburgh's athletic director, Bruce Baumgartner, who in his own legendary right was a wrestler and Olympian and had true success on the mat, we talked about Tim and the powerhouse program that he built in Edinburgh, and that certainly came up about what Tim did for that program. But the conversation turned quickly and the focus became back on how everybody talked about Tim and always quickly turned to the individual quality that Tim is and what he meant to the Edinburgh community. I know today that we have many people back in Edinburgh that are watching the stream of this, and I know it's a sad day for them. I know this because I've talked to many of them about this opportunity that Tim had to come to WVU. But let me assure all the Fighting Scots that your all-time winningest wrestling coach is in good hands. And finally, the deciding factor for me to hire Tim came when I found out that his career record against WVU. He's 15-5-2 against us. So you know the old saying goes, if you can't beat him, hire him. So, but all jokes aside, not only we're excited to have him as our 9th head wrestling coach here at WVU, but I'm honored to introduce him today to Mountaineer Nation. And yes, this is a home run hire. Please join me in welcoming Tim Flynn to West Virginia University.
Wow, thanks, Shane. Special thanks to Shane and Terry making the and really everybody making the transition, so easy. It's been a difficult, couple days, when you've worked somewhere so long. It's always a little unnerving to start something new, but I can tell you that this place is special, and I knew if I ever left, my prior job, it was going to take a special place, and West Virginia checks all the boxes. As far as trying to build a powerhouse wrestling program. But the single most important thing to me are the people. And the people in this room really just made it so much easier, to say goodbye to Edinburgh, and I'm happy to be here. I think we can do great things here. I've already mentioned the people. The people make the place. Obviously the facilities and the school and the academic side, it's awesome here. But the biggest selling point that we have here, I think, is the people that are here. So I want to thank everybody that was a part of that and spent time with me, really, just during the process. As far as looking forward, I'm excited. I mean, we're in the Big 12. We're in a great hotbed of wrestling. I think the sky's the limit. You know, we just need to rally the troops. It's not a one-man show. I've got Cliff Moore decided to come with me, and Mitchell Port. You know, a lot of people ask me, you know, why did you want to bring them? You know, the same thing I've been saying. You know, when you have quality people around you, you know, you can do great things. And certainly any achievements we've had the last couple of years have been really because of these guys as well. So, you know, I'm so psyched that they're with me, and it gives me some comfort, you know, to see some familiar faces when you know, you look across the office. So, thanks for everything. I can't wait to get started. Like I said, I think the sky's the limit here, and you know, I keep getting all these texts. People are saying, wow, it looks weird, you in that color. And, you know, it's really day 2, and I'm like, I don't know, it feels pretty good already. So, yeah, I enjoy the blue and gold, so looks good. So.
Questions for Coach Flynn?
Coach, you were talking about West Virginia checking off all the boxes. Can you kind of go into some detail what those boxes were?
Sure, and it's so you know, it's my sheet. It's not like a national sheet. I think to be really successful in wrestling, you need a bigger school with in a Power 5 conference. You know, certainly that's one. You need the facilities. If any of you have been in our wrestling facility, it's just state of the art. It's, you know, top of the food chain. So those are 2 big boxes. I mean, the academic piece, there's so many majors to sell here. I think that's a big part of it. The alumni base is there. Certainly that we can, you know, go out and rally those guys. So, you know, those are a couple of the major ones.
You're in a really good area, Pennsylvania. How do you sell West Virginia going up against Penn State and all the people you got to go up against?
Well, first of all, you get them on campus. I mean, and it's beautiful. You know, we went up to lunch last week, and it just looked out, and I was like, man, I think it was 70 degrees. It helped, or 75 degrees.
Well, yesterday.
Yeah, no, yesterday I thought I woke up in a bad dream. I was back, you know, yeah, back in Edinburgh. But no, I think you get the kids on campus. How do you sell them? You sell them on your vision, on your goal, your excitement, your energy. You sell the guys you have around you, and you sell the people here. You know, I've already mentioned that a bunch of times, and I'm going to be selling it. It's, you know, Terry's walking us around to get cards and making sure we're comfortable, and I already feel bad about calling her so many times, but I think this place will sell itself once we get it up and running.
How much have you had an opportunity to size up what you have here in terms of roster, wrestlers you have? You had an opportunity to look into that pretty closely, or?
I have. Well, as soon as you look into any, you know, I started doing my homework. Yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, we always want to upgrade in all areas, but, you know, there's some good kids here that we can work with, and certainly recruiting down the road is you know, that's it for every sport. That's not wrestling. You got to get quality kids in here and high-level athletes. So, but I think we've got some good ones here to start.
What's your training philosophy? Are you flexible with kids? Do you have your way of doing things? What's your system? How do you train your kids?
Consistency, I think, is a big part of what we all believe in. You know, training consistently. I think it's just like any, I guess, middle-aged businessman. They can train hard for a week. You know, they start to lose weight, and then they don't. You know, they fall off. You know, and it's the same with college athletics. I think anybody can go really hard for a week or a month. It's, hey, from the day you sign on, can you do it for 5 years? You know, and train consistently, and it's got to be a way of life. I think that's the biggest thing for us is wrestling has to be a way of life. The way you structure your eating, your sleeping, who your friends are, And it's a constant challenge for kids, and it's something that we have to keep reminding them of the lifestyle it takes to be successful. So, but I think that's a big part of our plan.
Over the years, you have had some opportunities to leave Edinburgh. What set this opportunity apart?
I keep saying it, the people, the facilities, the place itself feels comfortable. You know, I told someone a couple days ago, it feels like a small town at a bigger school. And I think that's special, you know, and I think that was a big part of it. Timing is everything. You know, I think the right opportunity, and I've had my eye, I won't say I was like, oh, I wasn't pining for Coach Turnbull's job or anything, but I was like, wow, that would be a great place, you know, especially, you know, after we saw the facilities, you know, a while back.
Adding to assistant coaches for you yesterday in Port and more, how do you feel like you three are going to help with this WVU wrestling program? What can they add along with you?
Well, they're going to bring the same thing I bring, I hope, is you know, hard work, integrity, doing the right things the right way. But, you know, they each have their own skills and attributes. Certainly they're high-level wrestlers. You know, you have an NCAA champion from one of the most storied programs of Iowa. You know, so Cliff was a Big Ten champion. I think he was a Big Ten, you know, a scholar athlete. Correct me if I'm wrong, Cliff. Yeah, so, but, you know, so that's the kind of role model you want. And on top of it, he's the type of person I would want my son around, or, you know, so those are the kind of people that eventually will recruit the right people and attract the right people. So, and same thing with Mitchell. I had the opportunity, Mitchell wrestled for my brother in high school. My brother was an assistant coach at Mitchell's high school, part-time, but so I've known about Mitchell for a long time, and obviously he wrestled for us. Again, 3-time All-American, 2-time NCAA finalist. You know, again, you talk about checking the boxes. He checks that box, but again, the biggest box for us is character and, you know, what type of man he is, and they both have that. So,
what was it like as a young coach going against Greg Jones?
You know, well, originally, it's interesting. You know, when Greg won his first national title, our guy was a returning national champion. So we were like, oh, we got this, you know. And certainly Greg's wonderful, and I've known Greg for years. Yeah, he was a handful. I mean, if you're talking about actually trying to beat him, fast, strong, good, yeah, it's a handful is, I guess, the best word for him, but it was a challenge.
Your colleagues, some of the people that I talked to said, you've got everything you need right around here. You can pretty much fill your roster. You can get in your car and be home by dinner time and see everybody you need. Was that appealing to you?
Oh, absolutely. I think that's a big part of any job is where, you know, where it's located, whether you're in athletics or not, you know, in the location, not just for your family. You know, I already love Morgantown, but for recruiting, I mean, we all know, anyone who follows college wrestling, you know, the Whippeal and, you know, Southwest Pennsylvania is just unbelievable. You know, and really we're not that far from like that Allentown area, and that's another big area in Cleveland. So you just, you know, you have a lot of hotbeds that you can, you know, get to in a pretty reasonable amount of time.
Curious, I don't know if you can answer this. How were you able to do more with less at Edinburgh?
We got lucky. I think whenever you're anywhere, you know, we're not going to sell West Virginia. I don't want to sell anything that we're not. You know, you tell people what you are and what you're about, and if that's what they want to buy, you know, you'll have a good chance of getting them. You know, I think when I was at Edinburgh, we sold them a small school, and kids that wanted a small school, you know, were attracted to it. But again, you always sell yourself, and you always sell what you're about and your vision, and your energy. And people want to be around people like them. So we're going to find more people that are excited about wrestling, excited about West Virginia University, and, you know, good things will happen if we stuff the room full of those people.
Yeah, but 9.9 is different than, say, 6 or 5 that you were given. How were
Yeah.
you able to work around that?
You have a little less margin for error, certainly. So, and there's years there where we weren't as strong. You have an injury, you don't go from 9.9 to 8.9. If he's a full ride guy, you go from whatever, 6.5 or whatever you're giving out that year. So less margin for error, for sure.
Coach, I mean, you're talking about the Big 12, and obviously there's steps to be taken along the process to get up there with, Oklahoma State, and then there's another step to be taken, if you want to talk about Ohio State, Penn State, stuff like. Well, kind of talk about the steps that you want to take to help, get the program up to those, those spots.
Yeah. There are steps. I mean, that's really well put. The first step is, I always think of a project, if the ship is going the wrong way, and I'm not saying it is, you've got to stop the ship, turn it around, and get it going the other way. So, we've got to evaluate where we are in that. Are we going the wrong way? Are we just going the right way slowly? The first goal is to start to get some people in here that can compete for NCAA championships. And then, I always say there's only 10 guys, and that gets back to your how can you compete? Well, there's only 10 spots. I don't have to fill a roster like football does. So you get a couple good kids, you can get things turned around in a couple years. But there is that stepping stone, and I think to get to that last step, that's when we're going to need the alumni on board, and so that you have, a stronger regional training center, and you start to attract some people to train here, and then you get even higher level athletes, and that's a couple steps away.
Did you get down to West Virginia much to recruit? I know Parkersburg's had a good program and different pockets. Are you familiar with wrestling in West Virginia?
I'm a little familiar, yes. I mean, we obviously know the stronger programs, but we didn't recruit a lot out of West Virginia, but we did. I think there's only 5 All-Americans ever out of here, I think. And one of them went to Edinburgh, so we got one from Charleston, Mark Samples, and he actually does a lot of work up in this area, so he's going to, he'll be popping in and saying hello. But, we know the stronger players in the state.